Good morning to all. I am S. Kalaivani, Assistant Professor of English, JJ College of Arts and Science, Pudukottai. Now we are going to see the title Age of Queen Anne and Coffee House from the Social History of England. First, we are going to see the introduction. Queen Anne ruled England from 1702 to 1714. It was a golden age in the history of England because it was a period of good prosperity. Industry, agriculture, and commerce all continued to prosper. Only during the last 3 years of her reign were there signs of distress and discontent, and that was chiefly due to the unavoidable war conditions in which the people had to live. A period of great prosperity. This prosperity and content that prevailed all over the country was partly owing to good harvest and cheap food. English agriculture had improved so far that more wheat was grown than in medieval time. In the reign of Anne, there was a great exchange of agricultural products between one district to another. Thus, the hosts of Sussex and Hemisphere sent their corn. Cheshire and other western countries sent their cheese by sea to London. Classification of social hierarchy. The social hierarchy consisted of the duke, the squire, the yeoman, the freeholders, and the tenant. And education system. In Queen Anne's reign, it was not yet time to appropriate the value of good education. A gentleman of the time was satisfied with spending 1% of his income for his children's education. There were only a few public schools like Eton, Winchester's, and Westminster's, which were patronized chiefly by the aristocracy. The sons of the squires, yeomen, and shopkeepers went to the nearest grammar schools. In wealthy families, private chapels were employed to teach the young gentlemen. In schools, the punishment was of rather severe type. and women's education was almost neglected, and there was no good school for them. Most girls learnt from their mothers to read, write, sew, and manage the household. Coffee house. Coffee drinking was a common habit, at least among the wealthier classes. From the reign of Charles II, the coffee house was the center of social life. In Queen Anne's time, there were as many as 500 coffee houses in the city of London. The Tories, the Whigs, clergymen, literary men, businessmen, and all other groups had their separate coffee houses. Now we are going to see the separate coffee houses, Tories and Whigs. Tories and Whigs. Coffee was probably introduced from Abyssinia into the Arabian Peninsula. Almost every man of upper or middle classes frequented his favorite coffee houses either for mere social contact or to transact business or both. Thus, the Tories went to their favorite Cocoa Tree Chocolate House and the Whigs to St. James Coffee House. No doubt was discussed with extraordinary heat and energy by the partisans who gathered in these places. And the favorite resort of the learned literary men was the much celebrated Will's Coffee House, which was situated between Covent Garden and Bow Street. Obviously, literary topics like poetic justice or the three classical units were discussed at their meeting. About 1685, the most estimated literary genius who visited the coffee house was John Dryden. And the another coffee house which was something like a rival to Will's was Button's Coffee House. It was called so because it was founded by one Mr. Button, an old servant of Joseph Addison. Chief among the literary luminaries who patronized it were Dryden, Addison, Richard Steele, and Alexander Pope. The Grecian Coffee House, which stood in Essex Street near the Strand, was patronized by scholars and critics. And the doctors. The doctors of the city had their own favorite coffee houses. Dr. John Radcliffe, the doctor with the largest practice in England towards the end of the Restoration period, used to come to the coffee house named Garraway's. During the fixed hours of his visit, he was very much in demand both by patients and by men of his own profession who wanted to seek his advice. Situated in Change Alley, Cornhill, the coffee house was founded by one Thomas Garraway, the dealer in tea, coffee, and tobacco. This was also the meeting place of the business magnates whose object in coming there was to transact business. The clergyman. The clergy had their own favorite coffee house known the Turbines. There were separate coffee houses for Roman Catholics, Puritans, and Jews. Some of the pious Protestants sincerely believed that the Catholics met in their coffee houses only to conspire against the government. And a very remarkable things about the Puritan coffee house was that swearing was totally banned there. Over a cup of coffee, they discussed with interest and at time with anxiety the outcome of the impending elections. The Jews, when they met in their coffee house, were chiefly concerned about exploring ways and means of investing their money at the highest possible rate of interest. The conclusion. The coffee houses played a prominent part in promoting social life in the country. Certain circumstances were responsible for this. Those were days when public meetings and newspapers were unheard of. In such circumstances, the only place where people could meet and exchange views on matters of common interest was the coffee house. In the sense of the coffee houses can be called the cradle of British democracy, as it was the only place where people of all ranks met and moved freely without any inhibitants. Thank you for watching.